don't care which one you send out. For either one, beating JupiterKing is a very, very tall order.
So here we go. JupiterKing going up against Lince, and I see here in the chat someone saying, imagine people who took Azilius and Buffmac on fantasy teams. Yeah, good for you guys. I have one of them.
Miner goes in, picked up by the Prince. Batson will get that chunk down a little bit, but might still have enough health that Jupiter does have to respond, and he does with the Spear Goblins.
Yep. So maybe we'll see Mortar here, but maybe we'll see a combination of a slew of other things that we've seen, and definitely not going to be now at this point.
Lince cycles Muskie to the right-hand side. Poison, by just a hair, doesn't activate King Tower. That was just perfectly placed, and living dangerously is the young Tribe Star.
Feeling saucy today. Will someone take a game off JupiterKing today? That is the million-dollar question.
It's been difficult to do. He has not given up very many games throughout his very short professional career. Went 23-10 in the No-Till League Special Edition, and oh yeah, undefeated so far here in CRL.
Yeah, and that's over Anaban and Igor that he has 4-0'd. So JupiterKing looking perfect, and I guarantee you that the amount that he has accomplished over the last few months puts a ton of pressure on his opponents.
Keep in mind, Lince is no slouch, 55% win rate lifetime in CRL head-to-head gameplay, combining both King of the Hill and 1v1. But when a guy's playing with the confidence and skill that Jupiter is, it's just going to be challenging. So we'll see. Can he take a game off him, and can he take the set off him? Dig needs Lince to come through big here as we move into the final moments of single and into double elixir time.
So high bats there. You see the Ice Golem come to cash him. Prince not going to do much work here. Inferno still on the board, and JupiterKing running that Minor Prince Poison deck that we've seen so many times in different seasons. Lince going to have to figure out a way to break through, create enough pressure to get this Ram Rider on tower with the log and, of course, the Inferno Tower in the way.
Well, Prince and Log definitely going to help out as well, and you see a nice counter here. Ram Rider not going to get to tower this time around. The big question here is...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the Prince not going to get the... Yeah, Miner does not come in with the Prince set up in the back. And as you said, it's going to be an interesting question of how Lince can set up something big enough to break through.
And it's going to be pushes like this that we're seeing, right? It's going to be pushes that have a lot of heavy tanks up front that then Lince can go, all right, there's no way he kills both of these tanks before the Ram Rider gets at least one connection. So we'll see how much of that he can actually do. And the problem here is it's really tough for Lince to create a lot of opposite lane pressure because his deck is so heavy. And it's so easy for Jupiter to get a little bit of damage on tower. So here we go. Mega Knight. Oh, Ram Rider sneaks in front, though. That is not what Lince wanted.
Yeah, those bats were nice, but the sequence didn't get quite right. We'll see if he goes for an Ice Golem to pick up high here. Miner goes to the Musketeer, and Ice Golem to distract at the bottom.
That
beautiful defensive sequence there by Jupiter.
Yeah,
wow.
We need to clip that out. Now, we see here the Prince still does get a couple hits in, which is massive, massive. You talk about playing Miner, Control, Poison, ever. It's all about chip damage, and just then with that Prince, Lince evened things up, which makes it a lot more difficult for Jupiter to stay in the lead.
And you see this time Jupiter predicting the bats coming in with the spears on the left-hand side. So a nice pickup. And just trying to protect the Inferno Tower long enough that it can do its work.
So here's the thing that's really interesting about the matchup that we're in right now is you can see that there's two very different styles of play. JupiterKing has to execute magnificent small interactions time after time after time here on defense and make positive elixir trades because of the huge beatdown ability of this deck from Lince, whereas Lince is just building up massive pushes, letting them cross the river and taking damage where he can.
Sorry to interrupt there for a second, Andrew. I thought Jupiter was about to go for something very, very fancy. You saw he almost got enough around the back to make room for that Prince. This deck has some exciting outplay options, but now a second Mega Knight down. Lince pouring it on.
Yeah, that Inferno Tower, though, causing a lot of trouble here for Lince. Zap doesn't come in time. Second Inferno Tower goes down, and another Miner on tower. JupiterKing is playing this perfect.
And the log, just the little itty-bitty log work he's getting out, and this is going to be most likely a win for Jupiter, barring something crazy happening. No, not enough time. That's going to be a GG, well played. JupiterKing remains perfect so far on a CRL campaign, and for those of you playing fantasy, a last-second crown.